Welcome, especially welcome to our place here. Happy to have you tonight with us. My name is Katrin. I'm the Director of Health and Safety, but also for the workplace team. So keeping that space here as it is also part of my responsibility. Oh, okay. So I thought starting with a disclaimer is pretty cool, but I'm the second one right now. So my disclaimer is this is not a presentation about mental health conditions. And what I realized is that in the announcement, it was said that I will talk about burnout and sadness, depression. I won't, maybe a little bit. The following slides are my own view on how employers can support mental health. So I'm representing the employer perspective tonight, so something totally different. And I have to say something. Improving culture takes years. So it's not just done, in a second. And what we need to do it is a long breath, because I wish, but we don't have that magic wand. So what I'm now talking about is how I see what we can do as an employer for mental health, improving the conditions. But of course, speaking for Tia, we are not there. We don't know everything. And, ooh, what the? Yeah. What did I do? That's interesting that you can do it with that one. Right? Oh, okay. Yes, I can. So I would like to start with a story that I experienced about 10 or I don't know, 12 years ago. So I was working for another company, and what I did at that time, I met a manager. He was very high up in the hierarchy and he was pretty good. And everyone liked that guy. And I was asking him, have you ever asked your employees how they feel? And his answer was no, because I would not do how to deal with the answer. And I found that super interesting because I thought everyone likes that guy. Why is someone who's like, he was really good manager, why is he not able to ask his employees? And I was thinking about this and I thought most of our managers are trained in problem solving, solution things. So not having the solution. If an employee comes to you and asks you, how do you feel? People might think you need to have the solution to whatever might be wrong. So this is a tricky situation that some people think if they ask, they have also to have the answer in place. So I thought, what can we do, or how can we know what the problem is if we don't ask? Because this is a problem, and I can understand why people are not asking, but it does not help, right? So we have to learn to ask people about the problem. So I was wondering what's needed that someone feels comfortable to speak up. What must be there? Because obviously it's not that easy, and we heard this already. So what is it that people feel so comfortable to speak maybe to the manager and say, hey, I don't feel well because of whatever? That requires a lot. And my idea is that, first of all, you as a manager, you have to show that you care. So the people who maybe would like or need to speak up, they should believe that you want to know. So this is super important as a precondition, that show that you care. Sounds so easy? It's of course not that easy. So I was wondering, how can we make sure that we create the foundation so that the people feel comfortable talking about their mental health? Now, again, the employer perspective. What can we do as a company? What do we have to do? And I think that a mental health strategy is needed to to ensure that people get the support they need. It's all about that the people feel that they get the support. Some background theory. So the first focus I feel we should, as an employer, put on is to look at the individual factors and look at activities to support those factors. The left-hand side, you see everyone has different, of course, skills and experiences. And looking at my presentation, I can clearly say that creativity and doing, good presentations, I'm not a creative director. So you see that it has different levels, but it's okay. So my experiences differ. The mental and physical dispositions differ, of course. Maybe some of us have certain traumas. The lifestyle, own beliefs. So we are all different. That makes it super difficult to say, okay, what can we do to support the employees? So activities can be stress management trainings. It can be yoga lessons, meditation, sports, time management, communication, coaching, counseling, therapy, all different things. The tricky part is we are all different. A mental health strategy must entail activities which support the individuum, but there's no one size fits all. So not a yoga lesson will help all the employees. So that's not sufficient. So focusing on individual support is super nice, but this is not sufficient. So what else is needed then? My idea is that we have to focus on the organizational factors, the work environment. This is about culture. And I already said it. There must be a culture that you feel that it's okay to speak up. It's not that a single manager helps you. Yeah, might be good, better than nothing. But it's a culture. So the leadership training, development. It's about management practices. It's the job content and demands. So if your job is super demanding, does this help or maybe hinder? Physical work environment. Do you feel comfortable in the working space? Relationship at work. Do you feel safe also to talk to your colleagues? Are your teammates? Are they supporting if you speak up? And of course, change management. So, and multiple other things. So organizational factors can have a huge influence on the well-being of employees. And my conclusion is that if we want to support our employees, we need to work on both things. So it's the organizational factors and offer the right support. Because the tricky thing is, usually companies, they love to offer activities. We do a health day here, we do a yoga lesson there, and then we have apples and whatever. So, and at the same time, we can give you a little bit more to work on because we offered you the yoga session to wind down, right? So the employees will feel that it's not okay, that there is an imbalance if we only target the employees with some kind of workshops. So I strongly believe that it can only work or is long-lasting if we tackle both things at the right time and, of course, at the same time. So the organizational factors are much more difficult to change. I started with this. Cultural change needs time, so it's not done in a second, but it's long-lasting. While the employee support, organizing the workshops, super nice, and people will say super nice words after this to you, so that's always fun. But most of them, it's just for the short time. Bring it a little bit back to TIA. What is it what we do? So we have the DEI activities. We have a lead tier program, so to train our managers. We have harassment workshops. We are cooperating with Nilo Health. That means that every of our employees can at least use 6 psychotherapy sessions and multiple of different tools just to get supported. And it's super nice to see how the culture changes, that also managers started to speak up and saying, hey, by the way, tomorrow I booked my first Nilo Health session, or it will be done tomorrow. So this is super nice that the more we do, the more I also see people speaking about this. We have the Headspace meditation app, we have a Blinkist subscription. So there are multiple of things. But it's always a bit challenge that we a little bit tend to the activity side, less than to the organizational factors. And one more example. I feel that we need to support our managers, and we need to train them and also educate them on mental health, because that, not all managers are trained in the mental health things because they simply don't know. So we have to organize this. For me, it's super important that the managers as well as the employees, that they know what their role entails. Because managers are supposed to know and observe the symptoms. So I need to know and I need to observe as a manager what my team is doing. Do they come late? Do I see a change in their performance? Do I recognize something? What I should not do is saying, oh, I have the feeling that could be a burnout, whatever. That's not my role. And no one expects me to do this. But some managers, coming back to the story from the beginning, they fear they should know. They don't. They should observe how someone is behaving and then steering via these observations. So it's super important that managers know how to address behavioral changes, not guessing, that could be something. I recently read something, and Steph, I think you said it. It's also a little bit of, it's modern to read about all the things. Don't guess, ask, observe, give feedback, but don't guess, even if you like, but do it at home. And last but not least, offer support, because this is key. Offer support if you see that someone is struggling with something. So don't solve the problem. And the trick is that by offering support, you might solve the problem. But you are not, as a manager, expected to solve the problem. And this is something I feel that we have to teach, to educate, to train the managers that they change behavior. And that sounds now that none of our managers is capable. That's totally not the fact. This is more a generic approach, because I feel that some need some help and we have to guide them to make this happen. And I chose that picture to show it's a thin line, because I recognize that we have some fantastic managers, and interestingly, most of them are women who would like to support and support and support the employee. That's super kind, but sometimes not helpful in reading, oh, I think that might be this or that symptom. So then they also leave their role as a manager, while other managers think, oh, if she has stress at home, why should I care? So the thin line to stick to the role as a manager, I feel that there we need to train people in. And that will give them more security in acting like a manager, supporting, and by this, solving the problem. So, and my last slide, what we as TIER, this comes from our health and safety policy. It's we strive for a happier and more inclusive workforce, making everyone feel safe, secure, and well. That's our ambition, but it's a little bit to go still. Thank you.